With Chris Terry and Tim Saunders at Skate Zone in Voorhees. And as the Flyers begin to prepare for another start to a training camp in the 2011-2012 season, one of the questions that's going to have to be answered rather quickly is who will wear the captain's C. Bundy Chris Pronger obviously has been through the wars, and he's a leader in this dressing room, whether he has the C or not. Is it a foregone conclusion, though, that he'll get it?
There's a really strong chance. I would say it's probably 65-35, but I'm going to lean because of the Pronger injury and his uncertainty as to the beginning of training camp. I'm going to say there's also a strong possibility of a guy like Danny Briere. I think Danny Briere has, with the Philadelphia Flyers, has kind of been the type of player that emulates everything you want your leadership group to be about. He's a good guy off the ice. He can be a mentor. He can have a calming presence. And he's a great player on the ice, which always you have to have your captain become. But either one of those guys, Tim, are leaders. They're big pictures, big images in this locker room. There's really not a bad choice. That's the one good thing that Peter Laviolette and management have in store. I think both of them would be really good. I'm just thinking it's Briere early because of the unknown physical status of Chris Pronger early in the season.
We refer to a leadership group, and it really is a collective group that usually leads a hockey club.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, with that, there'll be other guys, as the departure of Carter and Richards have happened. Those guys both award letters, Richards all the time, Carter sometimes. They're going to ask guys like Giroux and Van Riemsdyk to step up, too, whether they're wearing a letter or not. Be those guys they were in the playoffs, be the guys that they're becoming.
All right, you mentioned James Van Riemsdyk. In my mind, in the playoff run last year, he was the single biggest development because he went from a pretty good player to a dominant player in the playoffs. Is it reasonable to expect that that's the James Van Riemsdyk we're going to see?
They're going to want to see it because when you treat somebody to it, they want to see it repeatedly. It's you don't want to have the thought process in your own head that you're going to tease them and you can't do it again. When you play the way he did, you want to see that kind of, at least that kind of effort repeatedly. You want to see it night after night. That's as dominant a playoff performance that he had last year. Maybe going back to Keith Primo in 2004. I think we talked about that in the playoffs last year. Yeah, they're going to want that kind of, they're going to want to see that ability, the way he handled the puck, the strength he showed wide. And they're, again, going to want to see Claude Giroux continue to develop because, you know, as I said, and I know you followed me on this one for a long time. When you look at Claude Giroux, I mean, right now, if you look at his development, he's probably right now becoming one of the top players in the league.
And James Van Riemsdyk has probably put himself in the same conversation. Lots of changes for the Flyers this year, and it's going to be a fun training camp, to say the least. With Chris Terry, I'm Tim Saunders at Skate Zone in Voorhees.